All right, all right, all right, all right. We officially back with another stream, people. Quite honestly, I did not plan on even doing this one tonight, man. I actually had a pretty busy day, and I actually plan on skipping out on this one. But you know what? You know what? I said I ain't got to work in the morning, so F it. I'll get my rest later on. So anyway, as you can see, the title of this stream is "Why Streaming is Hurting the Movie Theaters," and yeah, there really wasn't a whole lot of stuff for me to talk about. I did have one video planned for tomorrow that I actually got to do as soon as I finish this stream. Um, I was thinking about something though, but I can't remember if it was all that too important. But I guess there were some talks of James Gunn doing a Superman saga. I'm pretty sure he probably gonna be the one to direct all three movies or however many movies he's decided to do. And quite honestly, man, I'm not excited. Okay, I'm not excited. Um, I know he said that every movie in the new DCU is gonna have a different vibe, a different feel to it. So you're not gonna have the same vibe, the same feel for every single movie. You know what I'm saying? So even though this Superman was goofy and stupid, I guess Clayface is supposed to be a horror theme. Who knows what we're gonna get with Supergirl? But I am just not super excited for I don't know. I guess the future of the DCU. Super, you know, what I mean, at least just off this first movie. I know we still got a long ways to go. To me, it does kind of feel like James Gunn is kind of doing what the old DC EU regime did, which is throw a bunch of movies out there. You know, it doesn't feel like anything has a direction. It just feels like he's throwing a bunch of stuff out there to see what sticks. Because he's completely moved away from the plan that he talked about having. I believe it was like what 2, 3 years ago when he was announced as the co-head of the DCU. He's completely moved away from that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I can't even think of all the movies he had set in stone that he's taken out and swapped out with other films. I don't know if this is his doing. I don't know if this is the work of David Zaslav. But it's like if you're gonna put somebody in charge, you gotta trust them to know what they're doing, and that's what I think David Zaslav should be doing: is trusting James Gunn to work out his vision. On a scale from 1 to 10, how excited I am about the future, honestly, I probably say maybe 6.5 to a 7 on the future of the DCU. Just kind of based off Superman and some of the things that James Gunn has going on. I just feel like he spends way too much time tweeting and trying to diffuse all of the gossip instead of just focusing on putting out. Uh, I don't know. Instead of just focusing on just making the movies and running the DCU, he's too busy on Twitter diffusing all the talk. And it's like, dude, you're not gonna be able to go out there and diffuse everything that everybody says, man. It's a thousands and hundreds of people out here that are gonna have comments about this new DC universe and the direction that it's going in and the movies and the TV shows that you're gonna put out. So you gotta just let it ride, man. You go out there and say a couple of things, but you gotta go out there and just let everything ride. Everybody is gonna say a bunch of stuff, and you're not gonna be able to get in front of everything. So just let it go and just work on trying to make the DCU the best possible thing it could possibly be. Take whatever you learned from Marvel, take whatever you learned from probably watching what happened with the DCU and apply it to the DCU and just make it as best as you can possibly make it. This Superman movie was not my favorite. Honestly, it's probably my least favorite I've watched in God knows how long. But we'll have to wait and see um, how the future projects turn out. I can imagine that Supergirl is going to be something 100% completely different from this. It's gonna be probably more of like a just off her coming in even when she was drunk. I don't think she's gonna be that kind of stand-up character that Clark is. She's probably gonna be some loudmouth chicks and come in and say a bunch of crazy stuff. At least that's what I'm picturing. You know what I'm saying? I actually do want to watch not watch, but read the Supergirl comic. What is it? Woman of Tomorrow. I know that's not the title of the movie, but the title of the comic. I want to read that because I believe this movie is going to be based off that comic book, just to try to give me an idea of what James Gunn is going to be doing. Anybody coming in, please hit that like and subscribe button. But for the most part, I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to be optimistic about what James Gunn is doing with this DCU, but man, just off the first movie, I'm not super excited. Um, I guess in some small way, I can kind of understand why he want to go on a completely different route than the MCU. He doesn't want to go straight forward and be like, all right, I'm gonna give you all the major superheroes, and then we're just gonna give you the big superhero team up, because I think a lot of people would say he's copying what the MCU was. You know what I'm saying? So I can understand why he want to go on a different route. But at the same time, some of the stuff he's got coming out is questionable, and I'll have to look it up because, like I said, the release and the schedule has completely been flipped on its head since 2-3 years ago when he announced what we were getting. I can't think of all the stuff that he announced, but I know we got Peacemaker coming out. I know we still got what else is coming out? I forgot. Peacemaker, Supergirl. I know that Clayface was newly added. What else? There's something else. The Green Lanterns TV show that's coming out. So yeah, there's some projects that James Gunn has announced that are still being announced from 2-3 years ago. I know that this I know that this you know Clayface thing is brand new, and I really think the only reason he's releasing Clayface is simply because he's trying to throw something out there to kind of act as a speed bump or slow down until he officially knows what he's going to do when it comes to the Batman that's going to be in the DCU. I believe he did come out and say that no, we're not going to have Robert Pattinson be the Batman in the DCU. Which, I mean, I guess to me, I'm trying to picture this in my head. To me, it would make sense just for the simple fact that he's a new Batman, same way you got a new Superman, and they're both in what 2 to 3 years of them being these heroes, and you can still keep the movies in the universe, well, not the universe, but you can still keep the characters separate in their own universe. Let Batman do his thing over there in Gotham, and let it be dark and everything like that. And then over here you got Superman, where it's light and fluffy and funny and all the other stuff, right? But I think it can still work that way. I still think it can still work that way. But for whatever reason, the director doesn't want to have Superman in that Superman. He doesn't want to have Batman meddling in the DCU. And James Gunn obviously has his own Batman, which you know, um, thinking about that, the thing is though, I know that the Batman in the DCU is supposed to have a Robin, which is going to be his actual son, right? But it wouldn't make sense in my eyes to have Robert Pattinson play that Batman, because he would still be a super young Batman, and it wouldn't make sense to have this Robin where he hasn't came up against the Tal Al Ghul, and I forgot the name of those guys, but he hasn't came up against them, Ra's al Ghul and Tala, right? So it wouldn't make sense to me why they would have his character, have a son, but it would make sense why he would have a young Bruce Wayne Batman in the DCU, because of the simple fact that he is, gonna be with Superman as they grow into their adventures and grow into their characters more down the line. Because the way I'm thinking of it, it feels like James Gunn is trying to put an older Batman with a young Superman, and it just doesn't make sense to me. So that's just my 2 cents. If it was me, I'd have a young Bruce Wayne with a young Batman. And I know that it's like, you know, I don't know. I'm just trying to put myself in James Gunn position and trying to figure out what it is James Gunn is trying to do here. You know, for whatever reason, he wants to have, I guess, an experienced Batman with a young Superman. I'm guessing, and he's gonna have a sidekick. I'm just trying to picture that, and I don't see how that's gonna work. And I know a lot of people don't want to have him direct any Batman movies. I don't either. And it's funny that a lot of people were saying that this Superman film was basically a Guardians of the Galaxy with Superman skins all over it. It was like he can't have a movie with just his character by himself, which I would have preferred over having his whole superhero team up. Honestly, the only cool scene in that Superman film was the scene with Mr. Terrific. I even like the music, even though I wish they would not have had that music in that scene. But be that as it may. Um, Flipping the script over to the MCU, I still have not watched Fantastic Four, and I know from the box office it ain't doing too well. It just seems like Marvel just can't seem to get out of this funk where everything has just been shitty. But hopefully they get out of it eventually. I know a lot of people are probably gonna be excited for Avengers, Doomsday, and Secret Wars when those movies drop. If those movies do terrible, it is officially game over for the MCU. Okay, but I highly doubt that Doomsday is going to do bad. My biggest thing is what made the initial run of the MCU fun was the road to get to Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. Now we don't really have a run going on. It's like Marvel is kind of having um Marvel's kind of having to adjust the schedule because of everything that happened with Jonathan Majors. You know what I'm saying? So it's like now they're focused on Doctor Doom and having all the future movies go out focus on Doctor Doom and how his character ties into this current MCU. And I don't think I ever did a review on what was one movie that came out after Captain America? I can't think of what it was. Thunderbolts. Yeah, I did not like Thunderbolts at all. I never really talked about it on camera, I don't think, but I did not like Thunderbolts at all. That movie was just boring, uninteresting. After I finished it, I'm like, yeah, I'm glad I didn't go to the theater and watch this because it just wasn't good at all. It really only took place in two places: the mountains, where it took up majority of the film, and then the end, where the rest of it was in New York. And yeah, the movie just wasn't my cup of tea. Been a long day. But yeah, that movie just wasn't my cup of tea. And I tried to get into it the longer we got into the movie, but the more we got into the movie, I just didn't care. The only thing I cared about was the end credit scene where you saw the Fantastic Four ship approaching Earth, and that was it. Other than that, I didn't give a damn about nothing else. But I don't know. Marvel's just been in a funk and they just have not been able to get out of. And for myself, I actually did like some of it anyway. Um What's the TV show that just came out that we just got? I'm trying to think. Ironheart. For the most part, I like that. I'd rather go back and watch all of that again than go sit through Thunderbolts. I know I may sound crazy here. Honest to God, truth. I didn't really give a damn for Thunderbolts. Let me see. Hit the like button. Uh, but yeah, I didn't really care for yeah, I didn't really care for Thunderbolts. I just thought the movie was really boring. And then they switched it up and they called them the New Avengers at the end. So it really felt like a marketing tactic from Marvel. Because obviously people weren't feeling the Thunderbolts. So they're like, oh, let's just go ahead and present them as the New Avengers. That way, we can put that buzz out there and everybody will want to see it. And I'm just like, yeah, this movie wasn't it. It wasn't it. And I thought the Sentry was gonna be a lot more, I don't know, badass. I mean, he was alright for the most part, turning everybody in the shadows. But it's funny, I seen somebody's comment and they're like, what is it gonna take for the Thunderbolts to stop the Sentry? And somebody had, oh, the power of friendship, because obviously none of them are superpower beings that can stand up to the Sentry. And it's funny that that is exactly what happened. It took them using the power of friendship to stop the Sentry. And yeah, I think I'll give the movie a 6 out of 10, maybe lower. I don't know, but it just wasn't my cup of tea. Anyway, what is going on with anybody out there tonight? I know it's a little after 10. Due to some personal schedules, I have had to make my live streams at 10. So this will be my main live stream time from here on out. I was honestly gonna skip this one because I'm just beat. I've had a long day, but I said no. I'm go ahead and go through it and get this out the way because I need to live stream more. That's one thing I have not been doing. But any excited for any future projects? For me personally, I forgot what phase we in when it comes to the MCU. I think this is phase 6. I think this currently is phase 6, but I lost track because, or maybe no, is it phase 5 or phase 6? Anybody know? I lost track simply because I don't know. Like I said, the MCU just hasn't been real fun. This is what I'm hoping that the DCU is going to be successful because I feel like if the DCU is successful, it's going to make Marvel want to step their game up because they got some competition, and that's what I really believe the DCEU should have been. They should have been competition. If the right people were in place and had a game plan when it came to the DCU, they would have been competition for Marvel. But they failed. So now it's on James Gunn and this new regime that David Zaslav has in place to hopefully show the old regime has them. But yeah, so far that Superman movie just wasn't for me. So we'll see what the future of the DCU holds. I know there was an article out there about if Margot Robbie was going to be sticking around as um, Harley Quinn. I didn't get a chance to read it, so I don't know if anybody out there knows that if Margot Robbie is still gonna be the Harley Quinn of the new DCU, it wouldn't surprise me if he decides to swap her out. As great of a job as she did, I'm pretty sure he's gonna want to have as many new characters that are gonna be fresh in his universe instead of pulling a bunch of characters from the DCEU over to the DCU, which in my eyes I would do too. If it was me, I'd probably recast. Not to say she did a terrible job, she did a great job, but it's like I don't want to have too many remnants, reminders, whatever you want to call it, things left over from the DCU, folded over to the DCU. I know we already got Peacemaker, Amanda Waller. I think that's really the only two things that we have that are tied to the DCEU. So I can understand why he want to start fresh. But just looking at what we got so far, I know it ain't much. It's just a little bit. It made me want to go back and watch Man of Steel. It made me want to go back and watch Batman versus Superman. And I did watch some clips. And watching that, I got so more excited than sitting through the whole entire Superman. Now, I know I'm bagging on this movie, okay? So please forgive me, but it is true. You know what I'm saying? I wish he would have found some way to keep Henry Cavill and just kind of from the ashes of the DCEU, just kind of build a new story, a new arc going into the future of the DCU versus what we got. I know we still got a long road, we still got a lot of movies. I'm just hoping everything is not going to be goofy and stupid. I'm hoping that James Gunn at least let some other directors direct some films, which I'm sure he is, because he doesn't want to have to direct everything. My main thing is he's still going to be overseeing the DCEU. You understand what I'm saying? So, excuse me, the DCU. So he's still going to be overseeing it. You know what I'm saying? So he still can have oversight on what is and what isn't going to be put into these movies. So, you know, I know he's just going. I know he has a plan. Obviously, he has a plan. There's no way in the world. I want to believe he has a plan. I don't want to believe that he's going into this new DC universe without some type of plan. I know him and was it Peter Safran have worked on some type of Bible, so I know he has some type of plan up his sleeve for what he wants to do with his new DCU. I'm hoping it works out. I really do. I really want to see this universe succeed. Even though Superman wasn't my cup of tea, I really want to see this universe succeed just for the simple fact that, I don't why would I want to see it fail? You know what I'm saying? I think that's really stupid. So I want to see it succeed. I want to see light a Marvel a fire under Marvel's ass and show them that DC is back and it's doing better. I can't wait to see whatever stuff he has to present at San Diego Comic Con. He's got to have. Oh no, San Diego Comic Con already passed, so never mind. It's late, y'all. Sorry. Well, I can't wait to see what he has to present for the future of the DCU. But anyway, like I said, the big topic here was why streaming is hurting the movie theaters. So obviously, we everybody knows we're living in an age where streaming is king, right? The theater model is just not as big as it used to be probably maybe 10 or 15 years ago, or probably right before the pandemic, before everybody was sitting at home watching movies. Um, I just I saw that Superman is going to be releasing early. It's coming out, I think, tomorrow instead of coming out in another week or two. And I know that a lot of people were like up in arms because it was announced that it was coming out, I guess, in a couple weeks, and then it got pushed up. And I think there was a reason behind it because I believe we're getting Peacemaker or something like that sooner rather than later. I don't know. I gotta read the article. But yeah, for whatever reason, we're getting something sooner rather than later. And that was the reason that this movie got pushed up to have a release date versus, but it's like ever since the pandemic, it's like all these movies have been pushed out on streaming super early, whether they've been hit movies or whether they've been, okay to bad movies. They've been pushed out to streaming services way too soon. And it just takes the fun out of even want to go to the theater and watch these movies because they're getting pushed out on streaming, just within 35 to 40 days. So it makes you really sit back and wonder, why should I go to the theater and waste my money when I can sit at home and watch it? My big thing is I still like going to the theater, even though I don't go nowhere as much as I like to or used to. I still like going to the theater. I still rather sit there and watch the movie on this really big, huge screen rather than my phone. Even if I got like the big TV, 75, 80 inch, it doesn't replace that real nice, super huge, big theater IMAX screen if you see it in regular. And yeah, I'm just not happy with the fact that a lot of these movies are just not staying in theaters that much. I know the streaming services got to make their money. To me, I don't think it matters if a movie stays in there, 35, 40, 50 days. Streaming services are going to make their money, you know what I'm saying? Because obviously, every streaming service is not a one size fits all. They all have their movies and TV shows that people are going to want to watch. And it's not going to hurt if the movie spends, 40, 50, 60 days in theaters. Let the movie sit in theaters, let it make its money, and then go ahead and put it on streaming. It's not going to hurt it. Then people can watch it as many times as they want. It's not going to change anything. The time is going to pass anyway. The movie is still going to be there. So it's like, just let the movie sit in theaters, make all its money it possibly can, and then boom, you can pull it out and put it on whatever streaming service you like. But I just hate the idea that all these movies are just not spending time in theaters and that they're getting pulled out quick just to, appease these streaming services, man. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's just getting way too expensive to keep these streaming services because sometimes you got like more than one person in your household using the same service as you. And that costs a lot of money. So now you gotta up the package. And now you're probably spending like 20, almost $30 on Netflix. Even for a single person, you may be spending like 15, almost $20 on Netflix. And then you got all these other streaming services you gotta pay for. So it's a lot of money, man. It really is. It's damn near a cable bill, depending on how many streaming services you have. You know what I'm saying? Because you got Disney Plus, Paramount. I'm pretty sure you got HBO Max, Netflix, Peacock, whatever other streaming services out there. There's a lot of them. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's just too much money, man. It's too much money. And like I said, I really would like to see movies stay in theaters longer so that you just get to enjoy them the way movies are supposed to be enjoyed, man. Not sitting at home, man. It's just not the same experience. It's cool, yeah, it's convenient, but it's just not the same as you sitting in that theater and watching it in that big, nice, beautiful screen. And even when you got big movies like Avengers Endgame, man, I could not imagine sitting at home watching Avengers Endgame versus going to the theater. And even though you're sitting around, a crowd of strangers, all of y'all are there to do the same damn thing, and that's enjoy this movie. You're either sitting up there laughing or crying or getting hyped because y'all enjoying your time out of the house and enjoying your time doing something, and that's watching a movie. So yeah, I just believe movies should be enjoyed at the theater, you know, and then eventually at home or on your phone, but it ain't the same. You know what I'm saying? So that's just my 2 cents. But anyway, anybody happen to jump in tonight, please hit that like and subscribe button. Happy to be here streaming. Appreciate anybody that jumps in. I usually always share I always usually share if anybody else wants to jump in. Like I said, I know it's late. People probably gotta work. Kids got school, everything like that. Let me see something. Let me see something. In case anybody wants to jump in, man. I usually don't get anybody jumping in, which is completely fine. I'm kind of used to going by myself after a while. But yeah, sitting there talking about you want to click the link down there at the bottom. So if you want to jump in, hit the StreamYard link. But anyway, like I said, it's disappointing with the fact that movies are just not sticking in theaters as long as they used to. And who knows if you're looking at maybe, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 years from now, if we really gonna have a bunch of theaters around. I believe if I look it up online, there was some type of deal that was cut during the pandemic or close to its end when theaters had made some type of agreement with studios or the other way around, where they were going to have movies released in theaters, I believe a little bit longer or not, or, they're cutting the time basically. I think from almost like a 3 month period down to like a month or a month and a half. But I know there was an article out there during the pandemic where the theaters weren't going to have movies in theaters that long and they're going to be cut in half. And it sucks. It really does, man. It's just not fun. And now it's like, oh, what are we gonna do to get people to appeal to come back to the theater? Oh, look, we got a popcorn bucket for almost every single damn movie, to get people to want to come back to the theater. And it's like, not everybody is gonna be out here buying these popcorn buckets, especially when they're out there $50 to $80 a pop. It's too much money. I only got one, and that's because it was given to me by the theater, and I don't even know what the hell the name of the movie is, or I didn't even watch the movie. I know they just did one for like what was it Freakier Friday. Of course, you had the Superman one. You had a bunch for I don't know. There's a bunch of different popcorn buckets they have, but that's the best way they can get people to come to the theater. Is like, hey, here's a popcorn bucket. But yeah, I don't want to waste all that money, man. Somebody gift me one, sure, but I don't want to waste all that money on popcorn bucket. But the Galactus one looked cool. And honestly, I take that back. If there's one I want, it's the Herbie one. The Herbie one looks real cool. But other than that, I don't want to be out here spending all that damn money on a popcorn bucket. So what is going on with y'all, man? I don't know how much longer I'm gonna stream. I feel like I need to shower and get some rest. Like I said, it's been a long day of work. Um, yeah, but not too much going on. I know that Peacemaker, I think Red Band trailer dropped. I actually have to do a reaction to that, so that will be up tomorrow. So as soon as I get done with this, I'll definitely check that out. I might keep the stream going for about a few more minutes, man. I didn't plan on streaming too long. I actually didn't have any topics I actually wanted to jump in besides that one. My next stream will probably be around the same time next Thursday. I'll definitely make sure I have some topics on here to talk about. And the main reason I had to switch it from Sunday to Wednesday night is mainly because of work. It takes up a lot more on my schedule now. So with that adjustment, yeah, I'll definitely be having a stream late at night. I was trying to think of some way to try and make it work to stream during the day, but I was like, damn, there's really no that much space where I could stream during the day, so I have to stream at night. So this will definitely be a big change for me. Hopefully I can stick with it and just keep on going and get more people in here, man. That's one of the main things I want to do is get more people in here. So definitely expect me to put my foot back on the gas. I know I haven't been putting out too many videos, but definitely expect me to put my foot back on the gas and get a lot more videos out. My watch hours have been dropping. Um, so I'm trying to get those things back up and just trying to reach that goal of 3,000 watch time hours and 2,000 subs. So yeah, I appreciate everybody for watching, supporting my channel. I think my latest video did 272 views, but the people didn't view it for very long. You know what I'm saying? So it didn't really do too good in that department. But I'm gonna keep grinding it out, man, and hopefully people keep supporting and different things like that. But anyway, just getting back to the topics at hand. Like I said, New Superman wasn't my cup of tea. Streaming services are hurting movie theaters, and I like one thing I will say this. I do wish I can go back to the 90s where movie theaters are really fun to go to because they weren't modernized. I like the old neon lights. I like the old, multicolored carpet, the little game room area they had. Like to me, I feel like the 90s, maybe some of the early 2000s was when the movie theaters really did it at. Now a lot of them are updated, modernized. They look nice, but it just doesn't beat that old school theater where you just got the old school look to it. You know what I'm saying? That's just my 2 cents. But anyway, let's see if anybody got anything to add. I'm going to cut the stream in about 30 seconds. So just want to go ahead and do this little stream. Thank you all for dropping in. Um, yeah, I'll be back next Thursday, 10 p.m. CST time. I'll love to make sure I'll be putting it out there in some of my videos and out there. In the not the comment section, but the community tab. That's something community tab to let people know. So I appreciate all y'all, man, for just watching and dropping by and anything like that. I definitely see y'all in my next one, and hopefully have a good night, man. And then we out in the stream. Indeed.